Happy New Year, everybody! It's January, the first month to kick off 2025. A time of hopes, dreams, possibilities, and resolutions. Like getting my videos out in a timely manner. 'Cause we all know that all New Year's resolutions get fulfilled, right? Of course they do. So let's make that resolution a reality. And I can think of no better subject to kick off the new year than Darkstalkers. Alright, so, as I left off from the previous video, to create an OC from another world, understanding the personality of the game is imperative, as well as understanding the personality of the characters and the tone of the game itself. But we can't do any of that until we discuss the next topic that I'm sure everyone loves, because... now, we've got to talk about the lore. Lore! The baffling clusterfuck of a nightmare that's filled with retconned incontinuity and confusing non sequiturs because the 80s and 90s games didn't give a shit. And yes, we have to. Don't you love character design?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Now, there's plenty of anime, manga, comics, and that one weird cartoon made by us.
Never fear, I'm a pro! I know my job! And it's to party hardy, dudes!
Fortunately, Capcom says they're not canon, so we don't have to worry about it. But that doesn't make it any less confusing, because Darkstalkers has a way of demanding to be confusing. See, remember that book I showed off? You know, the one called Darkstalkers Official Complete Works? Well, the book isn't exactly that complete when it comes to the lore of the characters and the world and everything else in between. So I had to order another book, Darkstalkers Graphic Files as it's called, to get the entire lore figured out. Because complete is just a hypothetical word, apparently, for Darkstalkers. Why is the binding breaking? I just got it! Ah! So let's delve in and brace yourselves. This is a doozy. No, seriously, you have no idea. So all you need to know, basically, is that there are two worlds, Earth and Makai. Makai in Japanese mythology is the world inhabited by supernatural beings, spirits, and demons. It's also a deity that became the world, and all of its inhabitants came from him. Kind of like how Primus became Cybertron, and how all the Transformers come from Primus. Those are for those who know Transformers lore. Okay, moving on. Makai is run by three High Demon Lord nobles, Lord Belial Ainsland, Galnon Vashtal, and Jedidoma. Yes, that Jedidoma. Belial is the highest noble and is the strongest. Galnon Vashtal is the oldest of the Demon Lords, but became too old to do anything and just helped Lord Belial until he died of old age. Jeddah is actually the youngest of the Demon Lords, and the brashest. He believes Lord Belial is an unfit ruler that will doom Makai. Thus, Jeddah plans to rid the world of him, leaving Jeddah himself to rule. He tried to take over and beat Belial, but Belial defeated him. Jeddah is a liquid demon entity that can change forms. He also has the power to consume dark energies for a period of time to become stronger. Jeddah's trusted advisor, Ozum, came to him and said to use the dark energies of the portals in Makai to gain strength and defeat Belial. Trusting his words, Jeddah did that, but it proved the power of the portals too overwhelming, thus killing him. Ozum knew this to be true. Thus, Ozum's treacherous schemes worked, and he ruled in place of Jeddah for a century. Lord Belial adopted Morgan as his daughter and future successor for some prophetic reason. Morgan was considered so powerful, her strength would kill her. So Belial split her souls into 3 parts. One subsumed in Belial, the other locked away in a pocket dimension, which later became Lilith, and the third is the Morrigan we all know and love when we play the game. Dmitri Maximoff of the Maximoff family also tried challenging Belial Ainsland, but was defeated and cast away onto Earth. Dmitri sets up a tournament of Darkstalkers, including Morrigan, to see who's the strongest to rule both Earth and Makai, thus awakening the Galactus-like Pyron, and one of his many army of robots, the Huitzels, that originally slaughtered the dinosaurs. Well, it is assumed they are from Pyron, but they might be from another alien race. It's, again, very unclear. Pyron is a celestial-like being hailing from the planet Hellstorm, which is a cool name just to say Hellstorm. He's a massive being spanning 400,000 light years. Oh my gosh! He takes the most beautiful planets, consumes their life force, and adds them to his collection, revolving around his massive, unambiguous form. Or his anthropomorphic form is his original form. I don't know, it's not clear. He also challenges planets to a fight, and when he wins, he takes their planet. Once he and his robot army arrived at Earth during the Jurassic era, that's when the Huitzel robots destroyed all the dinosaurs, he saw Earth's early inhabitants of humans as inferior, but saw potential for strength as they evolved. So he shrunk down to human size with Texas Longhorns, Oakham Horns, and he and his robots fell asleep, save for one active Huitzel robot, and waited until humans and Darkstalkers were strong enough to challenge them. And depending on the canonical ending, it's either Dmitri or Morrigan that beats them in the final fight. Well, this story seems pretty easy and straightforward enough. Here's the thing, that was the easy part of this story. Wait until you get to Night Warriors, because that's where that whole Capcom has to make Darkstalkers confusing comes from. Because, while the name does resemble a sequel, Night Warriors, Darkstalkers, Revenge, it's actually just a soft reboot of the first one. In fact, the story is pretty much changed from, instead of Lord Dmitri hosting a tournament, then awakening Pyron and Huitzel, it's now just Pyron and Huitzel host the tournament. And then we add Xianko and Donovan to the mix. So yes, it's a sequel to the first Darkstalkers, but it's really just a complete reboot. I mean, why call it a sequel name and just give it the same story? What are you, Overwatch 2? Minus the microtransactions? But here's where they make things more confusing, just in case you weren't confused enough. Because while they did retcon and acknowledge that Lord Pyron is the one that's hosting the tournament now, they also acknowledge that Lord Dmitri also hosted the tournament first? Like, I don't even know what to make of this.
I smoked marijuana so hard, and it was good.
But now we move to Vampire Savior's lore, where it transcends from confusing to drugs. Just drugs. That was the inspiration of this clusterfuck. In Vampire Savior, Jeddah's not dead, surprise, surprise, and his look is retconned from the previous incarnate. Of course. Well, he is a liquid demon, so he probably changed his shape, making it canonically sound? I don't know. When he comes back, he kills Ozum and takes his body and soul to create a pocket dimension called the Majigan, where Jeddah feeds a giant interdimensional fetus deity souls to give birth to a new reality under Jeddah's creation. Yes, those words I said is exactly what happens. See, he sees Makai as a lost cause, and so his goal is to combine all the souls as one singular being, so they all can live in peace and give birth to a new reality, making me believe that someone saw that funny mecha anime. Once he's done there, he will then return to do the same for Earth. His last souls he needs are the Darkstalkers and Dark Hunters, and it's up to a final victor to defeat Jeddah, face the Majigan's trial, and reset the universe with a little perk for the victor's own reality. Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare to find the true research, and I'm still not convinced I got that right. Oh yeah, and he's the one that gives Lilith a body instead of a disembodied soul because he sees potential for some reason. Yeah, it's a lot, but hopefully I got the lore right. Oh wait, I forgot. They also made sequels for the sequels. That's right, they made a Night Warriors 2 and a Vampire Savior 2 for no reason whatsoever, because those versions are inferior versions than their predecessors. The only tidbit is that Vampire Savior Donovan has become an evil vampire named Dee, and only the little girl Anita, an orphan girl Donovan's sworn to protect, has the powers to stop Dee. A little girl with such carry powers, even Jeddah is afraid of her. And it's been 4 years between Night Warriors and Vampire Savior, so Anita is now a teenager and fully equipped as a Dark Hunter. What happens after Anita stops Dee? No one really knows. It's meant to be ambiguous for a sequel that never came! Actually, his first appearance was Vampire Darkstalkers Collection, but it was only released in Japan, and I don't have it, so who cares anyways. But I feel like that ending doesn't matter, because at the end of Night Warriors for Donovan, it's been 10 years later for Anita. She's a full-grown adult and wonders, I wonder what happened to Donovan. So that ending doesn't matter anyways. I guess Donovan is still alive, and Anita didn't kill him. Or is it Amanda? Hey, look at that. Oh my gosh. Can't they follow their canonical story just once? I'm tired and cranky. I've been drinking again. Oh no, it's pretty good. Now, with every story, there should be a protagonist. Sorry, I have trouble over that word due to the modern American media not having heroes anymore. With Darkstalkers, each game has a different protagonzi. With the first Darkstalkers, it was Dmitry Maximov. But since he was a little too evil and bent on world domination on both the realms, they thought that wouldn't fly for the next sequel. With Night Warriors, the sequel not sequel, Donovan and Anita are the main protagonizes, but things don't end too well for Donovan, and he becomes evil. So, when Vampire Savior comes around, they pick the smartest choice. That should have been the choice throughout the entire franchise, and that's Morgan Ainsland. Since, she's sole moneymaker of the franchise. And she's not even really a good one either. She's the adopted daughter of Lord Belial, and during the events of Vampire Savior, Lord Belial dies somehow, and Morrigan becomes now the new leader of Makai. But she skirts her responsibilities and wants nothing to do with it in the first place. So she's quite irresponsible. I seriously don't understand Capcom's decisions about having a different protagonist every time. With Street Fighter 1 and 2, it was both Ken and Ryu. With 3, it was Alex. With 4, it was Abel. With 5, it was Rashid. And with 6, it's now Luke. No one else cares about anyone except Ken and Ryu. I do like the fact that the Pyron arc focused mostly on Earth, while the Jeddah arc focused mostly on Makai. And for those vets out there that play this game, I can hear them now. Hey, wait a minute! If that's true, then how come Morrigan has the same stage for both arcs? I'm calling shenanigans on this one. Well, I assume it's because her stage is a portal between both realms, hence how she can get between them undetected. Although, let's be real here, who's really saying that but me? Oh my gosh, I'm a nerd! But there's one inconsistency that I just plain don't have an answer for, and that's the timeline of these characters. See, Anacharus was born around ancient Egyptian times, Bishamon was born during the 1600s, and Xianko and Mei Ling were born during the 1700s. Yet the events of Darkstalkers clearly take place during modern times. However, when Anacharus and Bishamon beat the game, they seem to go back to their previous time to fulfill their goals. Yet Xianko and Mei Ling don't go back and are reincarnated after they save their mother. Why didn't they go back? Don't know. And to make things more confusing with the twin sisters, when the Jeddah arc begins, it's been 4 years since the events, yet the girls have aged considerably and look like they could be 8 to 10 years old. Plus, all the returning characters from those time periods are back. Why? Why is this? What's the answer? Well... So yeah, that covers the basics of the Darkstalkers lore. Aren't you glad that you know that? Aren't you glad that I spend that entire time telling you everything instead of just drawing? Aren't you glad about character designing in general? But to answer why Darkstalkers and Capcom is so confusing continuity-wise, well, I can think of one idea. But hey, that's just video games in the 80s and 90s as a whole, baby. The true answer for all this mess lies in how the East and the West see canon. Look at the Dragon Ball Saga, or Guilty Gear / Blaze Blue, or even Capcom's own Street Fighter. While lore is very important and is mostly consistent, canon and retcons really don't matter to the Japanese. Only the Westerners have a hard-on for it. To the Japanese, whatever makes the story flow and gets to the point is what matters and is canon at the time. And with Darkstalkers, you can see the richness of the story is more vital than the nuances.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, we've covered that mess called the lore, and I hope it made some semblance of sense. Next, we'll cover the personality of, well, everything really, then the tone, and then we can draw the OC. I know this is a lot, but I'd rather be safe than sorry when it comes to respecting this series that I love and making a proper OC that the OG Capcom team would be proud of calling their own. And the fans and I would be proud of too. Who knows? Perhaps I promise that the next video is the last video that goes through character, personality, and the tone. Trust me, it'll be worth it. See you next time. Also, fuck 343 Industries. No one cares about 343 Industries, man.
He's in, boys! He did it! He said it!